everyone, Tactical Gizmo here, and welcome to my review of Cyberpunk 2077. Now, this is not exactly going to be a good review, nor a bad review for the most part. I'm going to be extremely blunt when it comes to my opinions of this game because there's a fair amount to cover. So let's get to it. Right, first off, I can safely say that the story of Cyberpunk 2077, playing as V and going through each life path, all three of them, has been quite intriguing. I have enjoyed the story of where you play as V and you start off pretty much, depending on the life path you choose, because I started off with a nomad life path first. And you start off with pretty much in the middle of nowhere. This is where I started. And you're getting to Night City. But first off, you end up meeting up with Jackie Wells, who ends up being like pretty much your best friend. And basically, what happens is, from what I've gathered, is that you do a few things with him within the first few minutes of the game. And then it gets to a whole entire montage of various different stuff that you and Jackie Wells get up to within a year and a half of knowing each other. Meeting Jackie Wells' mother, getting to know the family, his girlfriend, etc., etc., etc. And then you go into the biggest heist that you ever could think of, literally the heist of a lifetime. And that's getting the shard from Arasaka. But unfortunately, shit goes wrong. And Jackie dies in the process, and you end up getting betrayed by the person who hired you, known as fucking Dexter Sean. And the funny thing about everything is, from what I've gathered, is that once you get the shard and Jackie ends up putting it into your skull and everything, that as soon as you end up getting back and speaking to Dexter Deshawn, he betrays you, shoots you in the fucking skull, and you end up living. You pretty much go through Johnny Silverhand's memories. And you live through the days of the year 2023, where he ends up nuking Arasaka, which is a big, huge, corrupt corporation of Night City. And you end up waking up and realizing that V is dying. That the shard that has the engram of Johnny Silverhand is pretty much taking over your consciousness and erasing you bit by bit. And there's no way of stopping it. And if you remove the shard, then V is pretty much dead anyway. So during the course of the game, your choices do matter, I can safely say. That your choices do matter of how you interact with certain characters and how you do certain missions and how you pretty much how you how do you fucking say it? How do you go through those missions? Whether you either go through stealth or go through guns blazing, whatever the choice may be. And those choices do affect of how the characters interact with you and how they relate to you. Especially when it comes to certain friendships and also romanticizing some of the females. Except for one. If you're a male V, you can't romanticize Judy because she's a full-blown lesbian, which is understandable. Now, in all honesty, when it came to the story, as I said, I did enjoy it. It was very engaging, and going through the story and learning about Johnny Silverhand's past and his motivations for destroying Arasaka and the shit that he did, you can definitely understand his hatred for humanity, and most of his anger is definitely justified. But at the same time, you do have a choice of whether to help Johnny with his last mission while he still continues to exist, pretty much unfinished business. And you have the choice of either being a complete dick to Johnny Silverhand or helping him out. And if you do help him out, then it is extremely beneficial to you because he ends up pretty much growing a conscience and ends up turning into a better person than when he was when he was actually alive. And for me, I decided to be pretty much sympathetic when it came to Johnny Silverhand because he did become sympathetic to you within the first, I'd say, 10 to 12 hours of the gameplay when it came to the main story. And with those choices that I made when it came to stealth, stealth, or going in guns blazing. I decided to go mostly stealth just to rank up my stealth abilities and everything. And I did enjoy streaming it. Um, when the game wasn't fucking up, I can safely say. But having said that, as I said, I'm not going to go into the story too much because, in all honesty, if you want to know the story, fucking go and watch YouTube videos or fucking go and play it yourself or whatever else. But other than that, I can safely say that the gameplay in itself, we're going from the story to the gameplay now. The gameplay aspect of it is actually quite engaging from what I've gathered, especially during my 20 plus hours of gameplay. And I did enjoy the combat mechanics. The melee was a bit lacking, especially when it came to using the katanas, or hell, even the mantis blades. And I was actually looking forward to using those. But I mostly stuck with just using pretty much my best weapons that I could find within the game. And just using those, especially modding them, upgrading them, and putting scopes on them, and putting silencers on pretty much almost all of them, including my sniper rifles. And the gameplay mechanics of it, as I said, the melee is lacking, but the gunplay is fucking amazing. It is really engaging once the game actually fucking works for you. So I can safely say that, even though I didn't go too in depth when it came to the story, because I didn't really see the much need for it. Because again, if you want to know the story, fucking watch YouTube videos of the story or play the game yourself. But for me personally, I decided to stream some of the gameplay. About 14 hours in grand total of streaming that I did. And I did enjoy it. It was pretty engaging, and I did enjoy it for the most part. I keep on repeating myself, but I'm not going on a script here. It's just my random thoughts when it comes to the game, so take it with a grain of salt, if you wish. But going on to the main fucking problem in the game is definitely the glitches. The glitches and bugs that are pretty much obvious is the most game-breaking thing about it. Because for me, the game was very, very rushed. The game wasn't finished at all, I can safely say. The campaign and all that may have been finished, and the story may have been finished, but the actual polishing of it, and sorting out the main fucking mechanics, as well as the AI and the physics, it wasn't polished enough. I, in all honesty, can safely say that CD Projekt Red should have delayed the game by at least around another year, maybe two. Because this game is definitely unfinished. They rushed this game out just to meet demand. Because, of course, this game has been delayed 3 times during the course of this year. And a lot of people were getting pissed at it. I mean, hell, they were going out of their way to even threaten the developers themselves. By saying, and I quote, "Oh, if you don't release the game now, I'm gonna come to where you live and fucking burn your house down and kill the rest of your family," or some crap like that, which is fucking insane to me. That people would stoop that low just to get a game released, when in actuality, you're gonna fucking hate the game if the game's a buggy mess. So what's the fucking point? You might as well just let them do the shit they need to do, because the game's been in development since 2012. Ever since the first teaser trailer was released, and it even said in the tagline of the end of the trailer, that the game will release when it's fucking ready, and it wasn't ready. I mean, take a look at the PS4 gameplay, and the Xbox One X, and the Xbox One gameplay. The game wasn't designed for 8th gen consoles. You can blatantly see it wasn't designed for that sort of hardware. The game's, as far as I can tell, when it's in its good state, is far too advanced for that. So, in all honesty, I personally believe the CD Projekt Red didn't have the PS4 or the Xbox One in mind. They pretty much thought of high-end PCs and 9th gen consoles, aka the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. Which is evident because of the way the game performs on last gen consoles. It's a fucking mess. I mean, as far as I can tell, Most people are only guessing at best before the latest patch, by the way, that at best they were getting at least around 20 FPS. And it looked fucking shit. It looked fucking crap. It looked like, to me, it looked like it was a fucking prototype of the main base game before the actual game was released. It looks like we were beta testing this fucking thing. And that, to me, that's fucking bad. That is severely bad. I mean, they should have waited. They should have waited until at least around the end of 2021 or hell, summer 2022. That would have made more sense, because if they did that, then the game probably would have been polished perfectly to meet CD Projekt Red standards, as well as just general gamer standards of what a game should be. But no, they decided, you know what, fuck it. We're just gonna send the game out the way it is. Excuse me, I've been drinking too much of this. A little bit gassy at the moment. But yeah, as far as I can tell, is from what I've gathered, as I was saying, that they probably decided, like, alright, fuck it. We're gonna release the game on PS4 and Xbox One and PC. And we know it's a fucking buggy mess. But we're gonna do it anyway. Just to meet the man, just to shut everyone up. And they did. They did release it, which was like, what, 6 days ago now? And now, CD Projekt Red are getting it literally up the ass because of it. They're losing stocks. They're losing, they're losing, as far as I can tell, they're losing money, like big fucking money, because it's a multi-billion-dollar corporation as far as I'm aware. Corporation, company, correction. And again, they should have fucking just delayed it again for like another 2 years. Or hell, they shouldn't have even given a fucking release date of this year anyway. They should have waited. They should have just waited until literally the first 2 years of the PlayStation 5's life cycle. They should have waited. And then if they released it then, and it was pretty much near perfect, like The Witcher 3 as far as I'm aware was, even though that had a few graphical glitches as far as I'm aware. I haven't played the game, but I've done a little bit of research on it. But yeah, they should have waited. They should have fucking waited. I mean, I've come across so many fucking glitches in my gameplay playthrough. Like, for example, I was going into the Maelstrom mission, pretty much in the beginning of the game after the prologue, where you're doing like the main big heist and everything. And I killed Royce. I managed to kick his ass and everything. But as soon as that ended, Jackie ended up walking through the door that I was meant to exit out of, and the door didn't even open. It didn't even give me a prompt to open the door. Jackie managed to walk through it like it was nothing. And I couldn't get through it, so I had to lucky enough it auto-saved after I killed Royce, but I had to reload that part, and then lucky enough the prompt came up and I managed to get through that door and progress. And the other gameplay glitches that I've seen is like pop-in of the fucking graphical textures not going in properly, and stuff like that. I mean, I haven't seen T-posing or anything like that. For the most part, it has been stable with my copy. I'm lucky enough on that one. But from what I've seen of other people's gameplays and how bad the game is, in terms of the bugs and glitches, it's not worth it. It's not worth the $60 or the £50 this over here in the UK. That's how much it costs on Steam over here, £50. And yeah, it's just not worth it. It's not worth the $60 or the £50 over here. It's not worth it at all. Personally, if you're that curious of the game and you really want to know what the story and gameplay mechanics are like, then watch YouTube videos of it and watch live streams of it. CD Projekt Red has fucked you over. They have royally fucked you over as a consumer as well as a gamer. Because at the end of the day, they made so much hype around the game and they made so many fucking promises that literally about 90% of them were all broken within the first day of release. You know what the funny thing is about it? Is that when they were showing us gameplay during the course of this year, when it came to showing on the PS5 and all that, and the PS4. I'm pretty certain that with the gameplay they showed us, they only showed certain segments of the game when it actually worked. They didn't show anything in terms of graphical glitches and anything, and it's understandable that no developer would ever show that. But the main thing that really annoys me is that when people got early review copies of this game and they were already saying about the bugs and glitches of how bad they were, when people were trying to upload the gameplay, CD Projekt Red literally had those videos taken down literally within minutes or even seconds of uploading. Because CD Projekt Red didn't want you to see how bad the gameplay can be when it comes to game-breaking bugs. So, in all honesty, CD Projekt Red has very much disappointed me when it comes to the gameplay. The story is good, I'll give it that, but in terms of the gameplay, it's not for me. I did get into it for the most part, but it's just not for me. I mean, hell, I fucking stopped streaming the game when I got like halfway through, and I decided to be like, you know what, fuck it. I'm just going to use a little specific tool that I use called WeMod. It's a program that I use that allows you to cheat pretty much a fair majority of games, both new and old. And the cheats still were on there, as you can see by the video that's coming up right now. You can pretty much rank up to level 50 within the first few minutes. You can unlock all the perks within the first few minutes, and you can get like over 9 billion eddies or some shit. And you can have unlimited ammo, unlimited stealth control, and all that sort of stuff. So I decided, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to stop the stream. I'm going to stop streaming it. And I'm just going to play the game the way I want to play it. And I decided to cheat the game by using WeMod. And in all honesty, it made it a lot more fun. In my opinion. It made it a lot more fun because it allowed me to use certain mechanics that CD Projekt Red didn't probably want you to use. Let me just move that a little bit. And what I did was that I actually found quite interesting is that you can use the double jump once you unlock certain perks. And I unlocked that within the first few minutes of using WeMod. And what I did was I used the unlimited double jump cheat, which basically allows you to double jump infinitely if you keep on pressing the double jump button. Excuse me, fucking gas. And when I did that, I was very curious of what buildings were real and what buildings weren't. And a few of the buildings weren't even real. V, my character, my version of V, ended up just falling through most of the buildings. And some of the buildings you can get on top of, like the Arasaka building, for example, I've managed to climb all the way to the top of that. And because I was very curious of what buildings you could explore by using that specific method. And as far as I can tell, most of the buildings are useless. Some of the interiors are interesting, like the nightclubs and the brain dance areas and all that. But in all honesty, it just doesn't live up to the hype. It doesn't live up to it at all. As I said earlier, the story is good. Some of the side missions are interesting, especially this one side mission where you're helping Johnny Silverhand to get his old band back together, Samurai. That one I found very interesting, because at least we were able to hear the awesome music of that, because the soundtrack of this game is actually pretty good. I actually did download the soundtrack myself. Legitimately, by the way. And I decided, and in all honesty, it's not worth it. I mean, story-wise, out of 10, I give it a 7.5 out of 10. And the gameplay aspect, about a 3 out of 10, personally. And I don't like I don't like giving my opinions when it comes to games like this, especially no, actually, I'm fucking myself up here on that one. When it comes to my opinions about bad games, I can safely say that most of it's justified, because the evidence is there. And I really didn't want to say anything bad about Cyberpunk 2077, I really didn't. But for me, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. Hell, even CD Projekt Red themselves have issued an apology on Twitter. I feel it was like yesterday or the day before. It's coming up on the screen now. And even that, the damage has been done, CD Projekt Red. The damage has been done. There's nothing you can do to rectify this. No matter how many patches you put into this game, we're still going to remember how bad it was in the very beginning. And the one thing that I do heavily question is that how the fuck are you going to implement multiplayer into this fucking game? Because as far as I can tell, this game was primarily designed to be single player only, with no multiplayer to be implemented. So I don't know how the fuck they're going to do that. Which is going to be very interesting if and when it gets released, if that's not a buggy mess also. But I will say, I will be interested in some of the DLC, because at the very end of the game, well, with my ending at least, it's literally cuts off with a cliffhanger of you being in space. Going to some sort of space casino or something by, like, going on to things like the second biggest heist, other than the fucking Arasaka one. So, with that in mind, I think I will get the DLC if and when it's released, if it's not a buggy mess, and review that. But for now, Cyberpunk 2077 is not worth it. It's not worth it. It legitimately isn't. I don't see the point in it. And for me, I was so fucking hyped for it. I was so looking forward to this game all year that I made sure I pre-purchased my copy like about a week before it was even released. And quite honestly, I'm in a mix of both regretting my decision and not regretting my decision. And the reason why I say that is because I regret my decision because of how broken the game is, but I don't regret my decision because of the story. I'm glad I got through the story. I'm glad I made some good decision in my opinion when it came to Johnny Silverhand's, helping him out and everything, and pretty much putting his soul at ease and everything, and putting him to rest and all that sort of stuff. But other than that, there's nothing really much else to write home about. The world itself looks fucking fantastic. Night City itself looks fucking awesome, but other than that, there's not really much else to do. I mean, of course, you can do, like, all the other side quests and everything and get those missions done. But I only did about, I think only about 5 of them. Out of how many fucking side quests is unknown. It's just unknown to me. I don't know. And personally, I don't give a fuck. I just cared mostly about the main story. And before I even played the game or even watched any fucking reviews or any other Twitch streamers doing it, I did extensive research on the game. And the one thing that got me was that when the reviews came out before the main game came out, they were saying that the campaign was really fucking short. And I was wondering how short it was. And in all honesty, it was very short. I mean, in all honesty, I completed the campaign in, I think it was like less than 18 hours. When most other open world games I've played take a hell of a lot more. I mean, Horizon Zero Dawn, for example. With doing every other little bit within that open world, for me, that took me like 40 plus hours to complete. But with that was not a broken game. That was a fucking fantastic game made by Guerrilla Games. That was a fucking awesome game, but we're not going into that. For me personally, I don't see the point in Cyberpunk 2077. And if those who enjoy it, then fair play, that's your own opinion. But for me, it's not good. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of time. Again, if you're curious about the story, fucking watch YouTube videos or do the other thing that I suggested earlier. I'm not going to repeat it. So, yeah. In all honesty, I don't see the point. So, yeah. This is my brief, sort of in-depth review of Cyberpunk 2077, and CD Projekt Red, you done fucked it up. And you fucked us over as consumers and fans of your company. You have fucked us over royally, and you've destroyed your reputation as a game developer. You've definitely destroyed it. And I have no idea how you're going to come back from this. So, whatever you do, make sure you do it right before you even consider giving it to us as consumers and gamers. Before you even fucking consider it. Do shit right from day one. And don't fuck your consumers over again. Because at the end of the day, if you do it for a second time, I can probably predict that your company's gonna go under. And you're just gonna be a faded memory. And all that's left is gonna be remembered of your company is just the games you left behind. That's it. As harsh as it sounds and as heartless as it sounds, it's the fucking truth. I don't hide from the truth and I'm a very blunt individual. It's just the way it is with me. So I'm sorry, but not sorry. Fix up your shit. Fix up the game. Or just don't even bother developing anything else for Cyberpunk. Move on to something else that you probably know better. Make another fucking Witcher if need be. I mean, granted, I know for a fact that this is your first delve into this sort of open world. But you should have done it right. You shouldn't have given in to the hate. You shouldn't have given in to fucking assholes on this planet. You should have just allowed yourself time. Allowed another 2, maybe 3 years. Then this game probably would have gotten the praise that it would have deserved. But as it stands right now with the game the way it is, it doesn't deserve any of it. So for those of you watching right now, don't buy the game. Don't. There's no point in it. There's literally no point. No point at all. Well, that was a mouthful. And that was my sort of in-depth review. Kind of gone off topic for the most part, but this is unscripted. I didn't feel like making a script for it. So yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go and play a fucking better game and enjoy that. So for now, thank you for watching, and I hope this helps in some sort of way. And see you, Project Red. Go fuck yourself. Adios, everyone.